Hey y'all, I'm back on Drama Talk because I have to talk about Rebirth For You. Jiang Baoning just wants to tinker with machines and not marry her cousin, the Emperor. Li Qian just wants to find out who killed his mother, and in the process he ends up falling for and marrying Jiang Baoning. Unfortunately, this crosses way too many people's bottom line. Y'all know in my last video I was talking about how quite a few of the Chinese web novel authors that I read have like several books either in production or already made into drama. Zhe is one of them, um, but this was based off of Munanji, or Yearning for the Southern Branch, and I hadn't read it, so I was like, oh, well, let me just watch it. That way I wouldn't like be super disappointed. I was still disappointed, but that makes me think that I'm gonna enjoy the novel. So there's that. It's 40 episodes. You can find it on Viki, but stick with me if you want to hear the rest. In my personal opinion, everybody is right about this show. Whether they like the show, didn't like the show, told you to stop paying attention after episode 12, and then maybe pay attention again a little bit right before the end. Like every review or comment that I read on MDL was absolutely right about this damn show. The fact that that Viki has it rated so high is an absolute surprise. But people like they fave, and also like a ton of times the cats who be reading or watching the stuff on Viki have not read the novel, so we're less likely to be disappointed. The problem with this show was the story. I don't have like any issues with the actor. Even though the female lead, I would later have issues with her and refuse to watch anything that she's in because she was also the female lead in Beauty of Resilience. But I guess this one actually came before Beauty of Resilience, so I'm guessing her face just hadn't started to bother me yet. I really think it's because she didn't have no bangs in this show like that. I have seen the male lead before, but everything I had seen him in before this drama, he had been like a supporting character. So there's also that. But also Lee and Roy was in this show. I think I just enjoy seeing him in like different roles because he has a weird face, but I love him to pieces. But in any case, as I was saying, the problem the problem with the show really is the story. And it's really that the story has no real stakes. All of the consequences are inconsequential right up until they're not. Right until the one time that they're not. Like the three minor villains should have died early. There should have been no reason for them to be able to like hook up and scheme together. And they couldn't even scheme together properly. Only one of them was like, oh my God, actually, I don't want to do this. But because she was being schemed against, she thought, you know what? My benefactor told me I need to do this, so let me do this. Like the minor villains really gave y'all smart, but clearly not smart enough. And I have an issue with multiple instances of that. As someone who knows herself well enough to say that my love can be obsessive, the four separate instances of obsessively stubborn people who is supposed to be in love with either Zhang Baning or Li Chan is ridiculous. To be fair, the fourth person in this four-person situation isn't in love with either of them, but both of them are getting in her way. So there's that. And then only one of them like gets it together to actually be able to have a happy life outside of this BS. But she gets caught up in the schemer trio, so she kind of has to like work that out up to I think the end of episode 38, beginning of 39 maybe. The major villain is pretty good in my opinion. He is bad for the sake of being bad. Like he has no real reason to be bad. I'm gonna be quite honest. But also he could have been better. He could have been unshakably better. But you know, you gotta handicap him in some way. The grandmother in this show is pretty good because she's always ready to like tear your face off or pull a Hail Mary if she needs to. Like, she got two grandkids. One is the emperor, one is the female lead. And she'll do it all for both of them. No problem. Ooh, so Something I've said before or attempted to articulate in a non-creepy way is that I hate when these girls like get married and then like they don't want to have sex with their husband, and it's like, what the hell did you get married for? Like, I understand you don't know this man or whatever, or like you're like, it's a ton of reasons, but at the same time it's like, if you made the decision to go ahead and get married, you also know that the marriage needs to be consummated. So why are we bullshitting? I will give the show that they gave a pretty good reason for why the main couple does not consummate their marriage for like, I think they get to like 25, maybe 30 before they do anything. And like, I really appreciate it because I've come to realize in these dramas where they get married so early, these two got married, I think, by episode 10. As much as C dramas have no problem with implying, hey, these people fuck, the censors like aren't gonna play that. So, they're gonna do what they need to do to make it sensible for the characters to not have sex. So I appreciate the story for that, for the reason given for that. But I just know in my heart that cannot be in the novel. Because they clearly like each other by the time they get married. So what would be the point in making that a thing? But I don't know. Oh, something I really should have said from the beginning. The title of this novel, the title of this drama is Rebirth For You. When I say me and several other people would go, oh, it's episode such and such, when does the rebirth start? To the point where several times after I had already realized that there was no rebirth coming, I started to go, well, actually, this would be a good time for a rebirth. Like several times in the show. And people explain that it really is just like a mistranslation of the show's title. I don't know what the title is in like Chinese, but I know the novel's title is Munanje. And I know that an English title for the novel is Yearning for the Southern Branch. And I can only assume that they didn't use that title for the English release because it's not the official title. If y'all remember one of the novels I did like earlier in the year, if not last year, the translator picked the English title for that novel. Literally, the one blogger translator person that I happen to like, she picked the title. Novel Update said, this makes sense. And even Goodreads was like, you know what, you right. So I can understand if the people who put out this drama was like, we not gonna take that unofficial ass title. But at the same time, it would have made much better sense to call the drama Yearning for the Southern Branch than to call it Rebirth For You. Because the minute you say rebirth, I'm trying to figure out, where's the rebirth at? Why are we 27 chapters in? 27 episodes in, and y'all ain't start the rebirth yet. What was the point? And in this summary, they're trying to make it seem like, oh, they're trying to change their destiny. This is their first life. What destiny? In my opinion, the show kind of falls apart toward the end, especially in the last like 10 episodes. And it's really because you can see how clearly this is a show, this is a drama or whatever. Like the mystique of a flowing movie breaks down, especially if you're somebody like me who watches like short dramas. That last episode, I was like, why are we having like one-on-one fights or 5-on-1 fights where we're seeing the rest of both armies like standing off and watch people fight against each other, when it should be like full scenes of both armies fighting, even though you're focusing on certain people, just everybody around them is also having their own fights. Like, they were really phoning it in, but they were also within the first couple of years of that 40 episode limit, so I'm trying not to hold it against them too much. In any case, no, I don't even really have like good recs for this one. If you like the actors or even the web novel's author, then yeah, put this one on your list. It is not quite an arranged marriage, and I would not count it as a slow burn because, again, they're married by episode 10. There is a bit of tragedy of empire, though, so there's that. All in all, I gave this one a 6, which means it's currently the lowest ranked of the Zhezhe dramas that I have watched. The Road to Splendor is supposed to start sometime this weekend. So, fingers crossed that it's miles better than this. Y'all be easy.